Hello, my name is Matt Heldstab, and I am going to be doing a quick demonstration on how to deploy vSAN, the new vSAN 6.6, using vSphere 6.5 and the new bootstrapping method. So here's what we have. I have 3 vSphere ESXi 6.5 hosts right here, and I am going to be using this process that William Lamb just came up with about 8 days ago. They just recently released a new version of vSAN 6.6 that allows you to install a VCSA on top of the first host that you install for vSAN. So first, a little bit about my lab here. If I can just bring up a couple of pictures. So my lab is, as you see right here, 3 1U DL36 DG7s. Those are not on the hardware compatibility list, but I am going to use them for the purposes of this demonstration. And it works pretty well for what I need it for. Here's a little bit of a closer look at the servers right here. We have one SSD in slot 1, and then we've got 3 15K 300 gig drives in the other 3 slots. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and launch the installer. The installer came from this download right here that I just downloaded this evening. So I'll double click it to mount the drive, go to the UI installer, and then inside the Win32 folder I'll double click the installer EXE. When you launch that, if you click install, it'll take you through the wizard, except the EULA, and then we're going to choose the embedded platform service controller option for bootstrapping vSAN, VCSA on vSAN. This is the only option to date that will work with that. So I am going to type in the information for the very first host I will be installing this on. And I am going to name my VM. Choose a deployment size. And then this option here is where you get to embed or to bootstrap vSAN on a single host. So that's pretty sweet. We are going to go ahead and name my data center and the cluster name. Okay, so now you can see that the 4 drives that I had in host 1 that we chose are listed. Now I do not have this one marked as flash, so I need to do that, and then I need to mark it as being claimed for the cache tier. So I have 3 300 gig drives and then a single SSD as well. Alright, so I just recently installed ESX, so if you see right here, it's just a fresh install of ESXi 6.5 build 531.0538. This has only been installed for less than a half hour, so it's just got all the default networks on here. We're going to go ahead and choose the default virtual machine network. You'll notice that there isn't any way here to set up the vSAN network, so that's all right. It works without it. So I am going to type in FQDN for my system name. Type the IP address of vCenter and my subnet mask, default gateway, and the IP addresses of my domain controllers. This popped up before I was able to, before I typed in my DNS servers, so I can't get this to go away, but it does seem to work all right. I'll go ahead and hit next, and then it says it's ready to proceed. So I'll hit finish, and it is going to go through the process of installing vCenter. Okay, we are about 5 minutes in so far. So let's go ahead, and I just want to take a quick peek at the server itself, the host. So you see the vCenter servers right here. It's been allocated 10 gigs of RAM. And there we are. You see it's a Photon virtual machine. And it's still running here, so it's installing some RPM packages. It's now finishing up stage 1 of the installer here. It's installing a few packages. Should be done in a moment. And there we are. It's been a total of 12 minutes, and the deployment is complete. As you see, the virtual machine here has some generic information that hasn't been completed yet, so we're going to start the next phase of the deployment. Setting up the vCenter server appliance itself. We're going to put a couple of NTP servers in here. We'll enable our SSH for later. Create our SSO domain name. The administrator password. And our site. All right, that's it. It is ready to complete. And we will start the appliance setup. Okay, we're getting toward the end of the appliance configuration here. All in all, so far it's been 24 minutes. Starting up some services. And the appliance installation is complete. 27 minutes in all. So if we go to the URL of the vCenter server, you get the primary menu where it gives you an option to log into the Flash web client or to the HTML5 client. So we will take a look at the Flash client for now and log in. And I'll go ahead and open up the other client as well for good measure. This is the HTML5 client. Might still be some services coming up for the very first time we log in. There we go. Imagine that, the HTML5 client actually beat us in. Very cool. Anyway, you can poke around here and you can see that this is the cluster we have configured with a single host and the vCenter server in it. And the data store is indeed running on a vSAN data store. How about that? All right. Let's give this a little kick. Okay. Anyway, So that will end this portion of the video. We will go ahead and configure the entirety of the vSAN cluster in the next video. But before we continue on with the second video, I'll just show you here the Flash client as well. And on the Flash client, you can actually look at more of the vSAN information, like the disk groups, for example. So you see there's a single host with the disk group, the flash disk, and then the spinning and capacity drives as well.